Hey, the Spark of Madness podcast.
Hello.
It's love is in the air, guys.
I picked the right opening.
You did. That was appropriate.
Well, that was done before I remembered that it was Valentine's Day. So
You can tell where our mindset is when it comes to Valentine's Day.
honestly, I can't think of why I didn't make that as the first opening for the show.
I mean, when the three of us get together on Wednesday, in the last couple months or so, we've pushed it, but you would think today would be the day that we would have plans where...
No, it's Valentine's Day, and we're here celebrating.
Ben, are you busy or what?
I would like 4 large pizzas. 2 orders of breadsticks.
Why don't you keep us rolling there, man?
you got
I'm sorry,
away.
it's Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Give me the heart-shaped pizza.
Yeah, heart-shaped, yeah.
and one chocolate cake for me to cry in.
Do you have any Kleenex you could bring? Someone keeps using all of mine.
Someone put tears in my pillow.
All this garlic's making me teary-eyed.
If you hear a grown man crying through the door, just...
It's just me crying.
I said no onions on my pizza.
It's just allergies, I swear.
When I was 17, it was a very good year.
Well, I'm happy to spend Valentine's Day with
Remake
you guys.
Dragonheart.
I'm Matt. That's Ben. That's Aaron. We review movies every week, and this week we wanted to choose a love story, which is something we don't normally do. No. Have we done even?
No, love stories usually stink.
Isn't there a movie called Love Story?
I bet.
I'm sure.
We'll review that next week.
It's actually just like Scary Movie. It's like just all the cliches. It also stars Anna Faris.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
She gets she falls in love with a box of chocolates that's animated.
You never know what you're gonna get.
Well, you should probably pitch that idea because it's good enough to get made into that series.
Yeah, they'll greenlight that. Netflix will probably greenlight that on the spot.
That's true.
All right.
They would call the movie
Love Story.
I thought we were going to call it Love Story.
Well, that's true.
So we already decided.
You're right. Love Story.
Yeah. And Carmen Electra will make her way into it
I
somehow.
mean, Carmel.
Is she still
Electra.
alive?
Carmen Electra. Oh. All right. Do you guys want to just skip the movie and just come up with
Chocolate
this movie?
Love Story.
Yeah. So
That's not racist.
It doesn't have to be.
I think that's now what everyone's
I've
thinking.
been working on the railroad.
All right. Okay. All right. So we're gonna do.
That's had enough.
We had a couple ideas for this movie, but we landed on The Princess Bride, which
Yes.
1987, and it's also one of your favorite movies, right, Aaron?
Well, I'll spoil my review. It's nearly perfect. I don't know about
Wow.
perfect.
Interesting.
Mostly perfect.
Yes.
Inconceivable.
It was bound to happen.
Yeah. One thing I do want to point out, if anybody's listening, I'm going to put it in the chat, and I want you guys to be thinking about this because at the end, I want you to tell me what your favorite quote is from the movie.
Oh, that's going to be hard.
Because I think this is one of those extremely
Can we do that
quotable
now?
movies. Do you already have yours?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
It's not really a quote. It's just, I guess it's a quote. But when Billy Crystal's, like when Andre the Giant's knocking on the door, and he opens up his little thing and he goes, he's like, who are you? He's like, I'm with the Brute Squad. Like, you are the Brute Squad. It just made me
What's your
laugh.
favorite? Yeah.
And MLT, good mutton, lettuce, tomato.
When the mutton's nice and lean. They're so perky.
I think
love
Billy
it.
Crystal stole the show from me.
Yeah. Well, I think
knew-
we can get into all of the different
It's gonna be hard.
side character. Like, this is one of those movies where every character has, like,
Every character
not
steals
depth
the show at some point.
necessarily, but like, yeah, they have like their scene or their time to really shine. So
I knew this review was going to be hard because I know there's going to be so much I'm failed to point out because there's too much. And then after the show, I'm going to be like, what? I missed that one thing. Well, I'll never get another chance.
never. He'll never be able to interact with our one.
Do you think we can review movies multiple times? Can we do
Should
that?
we do a redux of it? An addendum?
Every year
Only
we review the
Groundhog
same
Day.
movies.
What we should do is have Aaron, you just sit at your computer and record yourself and just a long list of you remembering the things you wish you had brought up.
It'll be
and
like
then
the
we'll
Chris
just post
Farley
it.
show on SNL.
Remember with you with
Remember
the
that
Beatles?
time that he said people in masks can't be trusted? That's a good line.
That was cool. Yeah.
Remember when you were with the Beatles? That was cool.
Remember when you were with the Brute Squad?
That was cool.
Remember when you were the Brute Squad?
Remember when I was alive?
Oh, jeez. Oh, man.
Oh.
Fat guy in a little coat.
So, The Princess Bride. How many times would you guys wager you have seen this movie?
I don't have a number for you. This used to be something I would pop in when there was nothing else to watch.
I watched it so many times. It used to be on.
TV all the time, for
Yeah,
sure.
I think it used to be on Comedy Central all the time.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
TNT, maybe?
TNT maybe.
This is, I saw this movie for the first time when I was in college.
Real.
And I didn't see it again until 2 days ago.
So you have the opposite of experience of Ben and I.
That's right. I have, but I recognize all the references though.
That's good.
And watching it again, it was like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Like with me, usually that's why I have to write everything down in this notebook all the time because I forget things so quickly. But like this movie is one where it has that lasting power because it's so.
It has lasting power, but it does.
Charming.
It rapid fires those lines at you, man. It's
Yeah.
almost impossible to remember them all. And I love it for that.
It's
There's
that
no
like
lulls.
fast talking 30 Rock pace of jokes and
It's like what Marvel movies want but can't do.
It's like the Marx Brothers.
Yes.
You know, like
there's a lot of like little slapsticky one-liner type humor in this too.
well, they have really good actors and comedic actors too. I mean, what Christopher Guest is in this?
Yeah, he's great. I didn't know he was the guy from those other movies until a lot later.
Well, Rob Reiner directed Spinal Tap, right?
Yeah, he did.
So he always wanted Christopher Guest in his movies.
I think he's in all of his movies.
And Mandy Patinkin's great.
Yeah.
So let me talk about Mandy Patinkin. I got a thing to say.
I think for me,
I met
I got a Mandy
Patinkin at a grocery store.
I got a ticket to
I
take with you.
got 3 minutes on Mandy Patinkin.
All right, so this character is interesting because
Inigo Montoya.
Inigo Montoya, his portrayal of it, I believe that Antonio Banderas took Puss in Boots from. He did. He
Never
did.
would have thought you
He did. And they are similar. They're very similar. And here's the.
They're both Hispanic.
Well, I don't know if Mandy Patinkin is Hispanic, but they had the same kind of accent, which is
the
funny.
hat, the
Well,
fencing.
Which is here's an interesting thing about their connection. The movie Evita stars Antonio Banderas as I forget the narrator. I'm going to call him the narrator. You know, oh, what a circus, oh, what a show. Argentina has gone to the. Anyway, so he sounds like that. Anyways, it's hilarious because that's all takes place in Argentina. You know, the original Broadway musical, Mandy Patinkin played that role. So like, there's a weird connection with him, but in this particular connection in this movie, like you see I think Antonio Banderas stole a lot of Puss, of Inigo Montoya from Puss in
I don't mind.
Yeah,
a good place
it's
to
a
steal.
good thing to steal from, I suppose.
Yeah.
Man.
You could do worse, like our love story movie. So, how would you guys describe this movie overall? Like, it's kind of just like a fairy tale, but
Yeah,
it's
but
not.
It is.
Also,
It's at its core, I would describe it as a beautiful mishmash of genres. Like
what genres?
All of them.
All
It's
of the
everything but
genres.
space opera.
Yeah.
with a smidge of oregano.
The chocolate coating helps it go down easier.
Just a spoonful of sugar.
Well, so what I think sets this apart is
I think it's
So-
more of a tragedy,
Oh yeah,
Tragedy.
like a Greek tragedy,
except
How
it has a happy
so?
ending.
like Odysseus. No, like Oedipus.
Oh yeah.
It's just like Oedipus.
Yeah.
You're right.
Does Wesley find out that Robin Wright is his mom?
Jeez,
That was in the
The sequel.
director's cut.
that's Rob Reiner's personal
Yeah.
version, where he overdubs all the lines himself.
He was really a farm boy.
And then he reinserts himself as his character from All in the Family.
Shut up, meathead.
So, it kind of sets itself up as a prince and princess fairy tale.
Yeah. But it branches out all over the place.
It becomes more of like less of a rescue. It's still kind of a rescue the princess story, but it has so many different thread, like you said, like branching. That's a good way
It's
to
a
put it.
revenge
'cause
movie.
yeah,
It's a
you have
fairy
like three
tale.
different plots going simultaneously,
and they're all good plots.
Yeah, and they're all really interesting. The characters have like
Doesn't matter if you switch from scene to scene. It's not, oh, this scene again.
You have a
Yeah.
grandpa and grandson,
Yes.
movie.
That's what I think actually sets this. Adds like a really interesting layer to it. Is that
Without it, it wouldn't have been the same, I don't think.
you could have the movie and what everybody quotes and references all this other stuff.
Farm boy.
You could just watch the movie, just watch that, and but they added on the fact of this grandpa telling the story to the son, and it has or a grandson, so it gives it this extra element of
And it's not just any grandpa.
yeah. It's
Peter
Peter
Falk.
Falk.
What's it going to give you? Extra element of what, Matt?
well, I think it adds like
Sound it out.
like why these types of stories, why fairy tales have like a resonance to them. It's not it because you see it through the eyes of this boy who doesn't want to care about it, and it's not interesting. And over we check in with him 3 or 4 times, and over that period he's starting to get interested, and it's
Because
not
he
just like a
plays video
throwaway.
games and
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah, you're
And
right.
so like
It's
there's
perfect
like
framing.
it's like a time like not only is the story itself timeless, but the movie is telling you that it is timeless no matter what time, like
Yes.
what modern gadgets or whatever.
It's a very
are around.
well layered movie that adults in many different ages and children
All
like.
ages. And that the kid framing part really helps with the kid stuff because like when they're about to do the romantic kiss, he interrupts the movie and says, whoa, slow down.
Yeah. Who
That's
is
funny.
Is it Fred Savage? That
Fred
Yeah,
Savage.
Fred Savage.
Aaron, cut to you.
Whoa!
I don't look much
Don't
like
you
him
see
anymore.
it? Don't you see the Fred Savage resemblance?
When I was younger, I looked a lot like
when you're a
Fred
little pudgier
Savage.
in the face, and you had full set of hair.
No beard.
That's true.
I did.
and you hit puberty.
Yeah.
But there's one scene that this is a crazy
Is
note.
this a kissing book?
There's a part where Peter Falk. So Peter Falk, the whole movie, like he's not that old. He's okay.
Oh, does this have to do with the Blu-ray release?
Well, they gray his hair, right?
Yeah.
In the very end, it's like they didn't have time to gray his hair, and it's like he's got normal Peter Falk color hair.
Yeah.
So he's got gray hair, gray eyebrows throughout the whole thing, and then he's like
Maybe it was a
you wish.
reshoot.
Yeah, like
Maybe he
maybe took a
aged
shower.
backwards.
Yeah, maybe he was. What's his name?
Benjamin Button. See, I didn't notice like the gray hair coloring on all the old copies of the movie, but when I got the Blu-ray, I was like, wow, that looks like powder in his hair. Blu-ray is a double-edged sword, kids.
It is. I guess when you, which we should do. I guess the Blu-ray version of Ben-Hur, which is like especially one of the most amazing Blu-rays.
Really?
The armor looks so plastic.
Oh, yeah.
And the makeup is caked on them. But back then you wouldn't.
couldn't
like,
tell.
You couldn't like they were.
You almost needed it.
Well,
to,
that's what I'm saying. How they designed it was for the resolution at the
Right,
time.
yeah.
You know,
And
and
that's
it worked.
why like makeup was all white and pasty on people because like it was going to end up looking right after all the processing.
Yeah.
It's like how on record productions in like the 60s and 70s you had to dial up the high frequencies because of how many times you had to duplicate the tape in the production because you'd lose some. And they had to do a lot of planning. So that's my side note.
Well, this movie did like a bunch of different they added in the wrinkle of the adventure element that I thought was, and they took the time to create these set, like they didn't just go shoot on locate, like they made this big set for what? No,
They shot in real castles.
no. Well, I mean when
Some
he's
of it was
climbing up the
sets.
cliff of insanity,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
like a Star Trek set almost, like with these big rocks.
It was, but
It's
the
like a-
long shot's a real guy climbing it,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
and it doesn't match. But
But they did it.
you're right.
Yeah,
it
no,
was a
it's
Star
cool.
Trek set.
Yeah.
But when he gets up to the top, it's beautiful.
yeah.
Well, of all the Star Trek type sets I've seen, that's one of the better ones because if you don't look straight at it, it looks perfect.
If you
Yeah.
squint at the movie the whole time, it's beautiful. It's just
Yeah.
beautiful. Wasn't meant for Blu-ray.
Well, but they like adding like details like creating the set, and I'm thinking of the swamp too. I'm sure they shot that somewhere, but like
The most
they made
impressive stuff are not the stuff the real locations. That's
Yes.
just good.
Yeah.
and like coming up with the eel, the
Yeah. Oh,
shrieking eel
man.
design, the
I
rat,
remember seeing
the
that as a kid.
rats
The eel
of
part scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
yeah,
that
those were
messed
scary.
me up.
How did the
Worse than
rodents
Jaws,
of unusual size? I thought the rodents of unusual
Yeah,
size.
The
yeah.
ROUSs?
Yep, that was clever.
And I loved it. Like, I don't think they exist. You see, they,
Yeah, they're just crawling around and just thud.
it was a person in the costume.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
I remember listening to like the commentary or something. They had multiple different guys in suits based on what they could do. Like one was good at scurrying on the ground and one was good at getting killed.
It's on his reel.
But they really
It's just
kill-
him scurrying on the.
when it squeals,
guy
that's
who's
a
gotta kick in his
disturbing
feet.
scene. Like when he kills it,
Yeah.
it's like.
It looks good for the most part.
And then Logan Paul tried to resuscitate him back to life. That's current. Trying to get our current.
Yeah, we're
yeah,
keeping current.
Logan
That's
Paul,
gonna play to
Logan
the
Paul
YouTube
tried to
crowd.
resuscitate a rat back to life. Yeah, and he's been demonetized on YouTube. But yeah, there you go.
Next is us.
There's our millennial.
We're
out.
coming
There's all our millennial.
That's right.
Outlet.
Well, but like it does
You
have
young
this.
kids.
It does have this fun, playful adventure, like where you're progressing through like a hero's journey path of these different areas: the fire swamp,
Well,
the
not
cliff,
only that,
the castle, and
The bog of eternal stench.
there's these challenges that
Your
come
bathroom?
up. Yeah,
No, it's my living room.
Well, to your point, Matt, what I was saying earlier, it dips into so many genres, and it does them all so well. What the best part about it dipping into so many genres is that it does them all well, and they don't step on each other's toes. Like when you have comedy, it doesn't diminish the serious stuff. Like,
Inconceivable.
no, it
it's
doesn't.
done in just the right mix
Yep,
to where it never loses its serious tone and it never loses its comedic tone.
it is a very well balanced movie.
It's like believable humor because like people aren't serious in real life all the time.
No.
yeah.
It
Well, and
does
it's all,
humor
and
when
again,
we
it's
would
also
normally
told
wouldn't.
from the perspective that you were listening to a story,
Right.
Like that, it's not
That's what makes Braveheart and 300 so good. Yeah.
they're believable,
No, that they're not believable and
Oh.
they're told as a story in
Yeah.
the beginning from a guy.
right? Yeah. Well, and what they do,
William
so
Wallace is dead.
they set up the "As You Wish" love thread at the very start really quickly, and
With
then
the beautiful, like a Mediterranean guitar playing.
yeah.
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 That was a low budget score, man.
Yeah, you can hear the synths later.
Yeah.
While he slowly,
I wouldn't
grabs-
change it for the world though.
I know. That's if it was different though, it wouldn't have been so dated.
I don't know if I would call it dated.
I guess it fits into the narrative of the quaintness of it.
Yeah, it goes with the rest of the movie. This was a low budget movie.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it was like I think it was like 50 million.
and it's a
50,000.
children's book.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. What's your let's talk about some of the characters. Who's your
Okay.
favorite character?
Oh no. I knew this was going to happen.
Or
Manny
we could start.
Patinkin's character is my favorite.
And why?
I just love his. Here's the thing, I because he's a very there's really. It's interesting because they started as the bad guys, but they're really not bad guys, and so they're really like there's
Him and,
Andre the Giant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Physic.
I don't even know their names. This is called
Physic, yeah.
Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
Fezzik.
He's basically playing himself.
Yeah, and so but it's kind of dives in. They're not anti-heroes. It's kind of like this is kind of this gray area. You know what I mean?
They're just
And
making
kind
money.
of pressured into being a part of his.
Yeah, but
his
that's what they were
criminal
doing.
gang.
But then like they have a conscience about it. They have a code. But I love his revenge story the whole time. You know, I love the end, the payoff at the end. It's like, promise me money, promise me wealth, promise me this, promise me that.
Anything you ask.
I want my father back, you son of a bitch. bring back my father, you son of a
And then he
bitch.
scars him in the same
Yeah.
spot. Well, and just like, and also, he's telling. So I thought that the scene where he kind of explains both the story he tells is a convincing revenge story. He's like a kid, and he was just a kid, and he feels this weight to like avenge his father, and so he spends his whole life getting really good at fighting. And then that scene also is so unconventional. Like, I'm gonna kill you, but let's catch
like
your
a
breath.
decent
Let me
fellow.
tell
Hate to
you
die.
about my like. It's
But
it's
that's
kind
how
of
you-
like a
that's how-
theatrical play almost.
It was, but that's how you would like do the revenge. It was a good payoff. It wasn't like anticlimactic, death scene.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about when he meets
When he meets the man in
Wesley.
black.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
for
yeah.
the first time, and he's pulling.
And they have a
It's
nice
kind
little
of
chat.
funny, and he's like explaining.
But it's
himself.
really good,
Yeah.
like swordplay. Like,
And
it's
then it
really-
leads to another. Like that whole scene, I loved.
It was like a Dragon Ball Z episode. I'm only using 30% of my power.
I'm going to fight him left-handed.
Yes.
Does
Guess what?
anybody know
I'm
who
only
did the
using
sword
30% as well.
choreography?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Aaron.
Does anybody know who did the choreography for that scene?
I don't know.
No.
I forget his name, but it's the guy who did the sword play for Star Wars.
Oh.
Yeah. Bob something, I think.
Oh, Bob something. I remember him.
Classic Bob something. I did know that they were the ones actually
They did all of their
all
sword
the
play.
stunts and
It
stuff.
was great. I love that sequence.
It's pretty impressive.
It was very sporting too. It was like
Yes.
it was more than just a fight. They were showing the characters.
Yeah.
They developed the characters in the fight. So
Yeah,
like that's
and-
what's good about action sequences if you can do that.
And they're dishing out one-liners, but they're not cringy.
no,
Well, and
they
they're-
make sense to what they're
Yeah.
saying.
And the whole time they're talking about like, oh, of course you would use this move against this defense and blah blah blah. Like
And
that's
real,
so like
real fencing.
yeah, that's so
You're using
fun.
Benetti's defense against me, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
There's
know
not
what
a
that
lot of
is.
money in revenge. But what did you guys think of Wesley's character? The
He's kind of an odd
Carrie
bag
Hill was
because he runs on this dangerous Mary Sue tightrope sort of thing.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
like
he does.
invincible.
But he's not. Like they clearly show that he's not perfect all the time. But he's very close to being perfect. But he's still lovable. Mm-hmm. I don't
Probably the best
understand
movie he's in.
What about Twister?
I forgot he's in Twister.
how dare you?
Never mind, I retract that statement. Mulligan.
Well, I think they make him. I think it's part some of the little scenes and lines they write in for his character, but also just like he just has a charm to him that's very likable, and just that he has like a little smirk constantly, and how he delivers lines isn't. It's never arrogant or condescending. It's always kind of with a hint of humor too. And then they add into him like trying to jump on Andre the Giant, and it's kind of funny, or he's rolling down the hill, or when he doesn't have his limbs anymore and he's just kind of like flopping
he's
around.
clearly not
That was hilarious.
invincible. So
Yeah.
I retract that. He's not close to being a Mary Sue, or Gary Stu, excuse me. He's not too close, but he gets close in places. But
No,
then they give him moments where he's not perfect, and it works out.
Yeah, you're right though. Like, where did he learn to become the best swordsman in the
He
world?
was on the pirate ship for 5
Pirate
years.
Roberts.
I will say the Black Pirate Roberts
That was cool.
story and like lore of it, and how it's just been a lie and keeps building on each
You know
other
what it is?
is a great
what
idea.
Stole, you know what stole it? The Phantom. The Phantom story. Remember that movie, The Phantom, back in the 90s? It was terrible.
with Billy Zane.
Billy Zane.
Well, that's based off of something like
Yeah,
That's
but
like a comic
a
or something.
pulp from
it is
early
the myth of like
1900s.
why the Phantom is like immortal is because it's just the descendants.
Yeah.
Ah,
You know,
it's like Zorro.
like Zorro. Yeah, Zorro. God, Zorro. Like the old Disney Zorro is amazing. Like Zorro is probably one of the best superhero stories. there is. And
I didn't appreciate
he's
it
Batman
when I
before
was younger.
Batman. Like
Yeah.
he's basically Batman.
It's great.
Well, Don Diego is a rich,
Rich playboy.
rich citizen in California before it was a state.
I should say Juego boy.
Yeah. And like he has that double life, and his deaf.
Did you like that,
I
Matt?
did. I got it. It took me a second.
His deaf assistant, who's Alfred, basically helps him out too. It's
Yeah.
like it's just a cool
It's
idea.
a good, yeah.
Man.
The other thing is, so
And he wears black. And you know what? The Black Pirate Robert is basically
Dre-
Zorro.
it's-
if you think about
It's
it.
the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Whatever.
the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Don't correct me.
Well, and they give him a lot of his motivations, and like he has the line like "Death cannot stop true love, just delay it for a while." Like that's a pretty good line to add in from the like.
That's about as hammy as it gets.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have that though. Like when he's seeing her
It's
for the
a
first
fairy
time,
tale.
yeah. To make his I'm always the one about motivations. To make his motivations kind
I
of.
don't think you're the only
believable.
one.
I am the only one. I'm the only one that cares.
The wonderful thing about Tigger. Wonderful thing.
What did you guys think of Robin Wright's character, Buttercup, the princess?
Buttercup. She was so young in that.
Princess
Very
Bride.
young. She's good. She plays a convincing like princess type character,
Yeah.
but she's not one note.
No,
She's not completely helpless.
She's 1.5 notes. She would make a good Princess Toadstool.
What?
Princess Peach.
Toadstool.
Ah,
I'm a purist.
I see.
No, I think she's fine.
Yeah,
Like,
she- She has her moment. Like she's not she's not funny like everybody else, but she doesn't need to be in this movie.
You need one.
You need one grounded character.
And the prince. Okay, so the prince is what's his name? The king.
Humperdinck.
Humperdinck.
He's a speaking voice of Jack Skellington.
Really?
Yeah, in The Night Before Christmas, and I found out the hard way. I was like, wait a minute, I know that voice.
I did not know that.
But the singing voice of Jack Skellington is Danny Elfman, the composer himself.
Wow.
I thought he was good in this movie too.
Huh?
He was really good in this movie.
I thought Humperdinck was really good in this
was.
too.
I mean, you could say that about any side character in this movie.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, Andre the
also in
Giant did a
Chucky.
great job.
He's
and-
also in Chucky. He's
Yeah,
the
he
cop
was
in
the
Chucky.
cop.
That's
He was the
right.
cop that we watched.
Wow, man.
He's also in an episode of Deep Space Nine. Start there. Anyways, go on. I know random things.
like the degrees to Kevin Bacon. Yours is just
Yeah.
to get to Star Trek.
Got a princess to marry, her murder to plan,
And I
a
did watch,
kingdom to overthrow. I'm swamped.
That was so good. That was
It's
so
very Niles Crane.
Yeah. And like the sinisterness of those two characters was very like it's still there. Like there's still like hints of dark themes in this
Significant man.
movie.
Yeah, and they give them they give them both their like things that they're good at. Like Humperdinck's a good tracker, so he's
Yeah.
not completely useless.
And the Christopher Guest, the six-fingered
also
man,
a good
he's
swordsman.
yeah, but then he runs away, which was really funny.
really funny.
After this big climactic crescendo, and he just turns and runs away.
You know, it's interesting. Like, it wasn't so hammy. You know what I mean?
No, it really isn't.
But it was perfect. You know what I mean? And I think that like sometimes when you see movies like this, someone just tries to ham it up and overdoes it. And it's like, well, you know, it's just like it's less is more without being too
Too much
enough,
less.
Not enough.
Well, and I wrote down a bunch of lines and like reading them in isolation, like life is pain, Eris. Anyone who says
That's my
differently
favorite
is selling
one.
something. Like that's kind of a hammy line.
No, it's not. It's true for real.
Yeah, but it's not like it's not really a word or a phrase you would naturally organically say in my mind.
Maybe not. No.
And there's a whole bunch of those, but like both the context and the way the lines are delivered
Yeah.
are significant, like for how it's read as like, and I think that gets to like a really good pacing of the whole movie, like where you're not thinking too hard. Like you're moving on to the next thing, and the next thing is equally as interesting as the one before it. You're
glad
never
you bring
like
that up.
stopping to.
Like this movie is the king of
Analyze.
that. It never spends too much time setting things up. It's just this is what it is. Roll with it.
Yeah.
And it's done in a very effortless way. It's like they could have spent so much time on exposition in the beginning with the farm and stuff.
You don't need to.
You don't need it at all.
Nope.
But it's
Keep it moving.
It's like,
Whose farm are they working on?
Yeah,
Who cares?
it's Farm Boy's farm.
Is it?
It was Wesley's farm.
Yeah, he invited people to come.
Where do
harvest
they
some
farm?
crops on his farm.
It was Bob Evans' farm.
All they
where all the
showed was him
sausage
chopping
biscuits
wood.
come
What do they farm?
Sausage biscuits. It was Bob Evans' farm.
I got sausage plants growing.
It's like, and then they had to go, put them in twos in the plastic wrap, and
Well,
then you
they
can
saved
microwave
some
them
of the
later.
patties and just replant those. What, the perennial? I got to say perennial.
That's good.
Inconceivable.
All right, let's talk about him because he
Because he's our card.
he's
our,
he's amazing. I think he's amazing in this.
So
Vicine.
good.
He makes. I actually think he
I love Rex.
ties the movie to like he's the crucial point in this movie.
He
to
He
make
ties
it
all the
work.
story threads together.
Yes. Like he
Otherwise, they
sets up the
wouldn't have
initial
nothing to do.
plot. He sets up the tone that's both humorous and also kind of dark. And
Did you ever hear of Plato?
What do you say?
Socrates?
Yeah, I was thinking Aristotle, Socrates. Yes, morons.
And
Okay. But they play it so straight, and that's what makes it funny.
And his enthusiasm with
It's not like a Mel
when
Brooks
he
movie.
switched the cups, the goblets. I tricked you.
I tricked you,
You fell for one of the classic blunders.
Buzz.
Aside from getting a land war,
You know he's Rex.
yeah.
Rex on Toy
Never
Story.
go in against a Sicilian
Yeah.
when death is on the line.
You know another part he's in that's really funny?
What?
He's the principal in a Goofy movie.
Yeah. And
Your
he-
son is going to get the electric chair.
and he's Bob's boss in The Incredibles.
Here you go.
And he's also the sperm kid in
he's
Family Guy.
He's Stewie's unborn
Yeah.
brother.
That's right.
his
What-
rival.
Yeah.
That was a good episode.
Yeah, well, and also that the whole like start of the movie where they kidnap her, they're on the boat into sort of let's give each of the three the sort of a challenge point for Wesley who's been tracking them, and then it culminates in what I think is just an interesting which cup has the poison in it mental game, and then of course it's
A game of wits.
yeah. Look over there. It's
Yeah.
like kind of funny. And then he just is dead. It's over.
Yeah.
And then he's gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like he's gone after 20 minutes.
he dies laughing.
And we all laughed.
Like, who's that Greek guy?
He
Chrysippus.
just come back and see his body hunched over on
our
the
US
ground.
is eating him. Get away here.
This was only half a meal.
But then his character
like Italian.
his character comes back. Yeah,
It's a little spicy.
a little spy. Damn it.
It's a spicy meatball.
We got any Tums?
It's a Vicini's pizza. When his character,
I am Sicilian, not Italian.
his
Keep interrupting
They
that.
are different.
They are.
his character does come back later in a kind of a good payoff of why they were kidnapping, like that there was a buyer that then
We
we find out that it was the prince and he wants to start a war, and like that was the
Oh,
motivation,
yeah.
and that's kind of a like everything comes together, like there's no wasted.
Come together
We've been hired to start
right
a war.
now.
It's a prestigious line of work with a long
Princess Bride.
tradition.
I like that.
Thank you.
I think we've gone long enough without talking about Miracle Max and Billy Crystal
Oh God.
a little bit more.
I could spend a whole
the show
podcast
stealer,
on that.
man.
All
He
right.
steals the whole show.
And I guess as I'm sure you
Who plays-
guys have heard, when Billy Crystal was on set the 2 days or 3 days he was there to film, it was just like constant period appropriate jokes.
Yeah.
And he never repeated the same joke, and so much of it was inappropriate, but it made the cast laugh so hard, and they ruined takes. And I guess
I want to see those.
Mandy
takes.
Patinkin literally got a bruise from laughing so hard from Billy Crystal.
I don't know. That sounds like a Bruce Lee story.
Billy
Yeah,
Crystal's
it does, yeah.
Billy Crystal's one of the funniest.
He is, though.
But like he's naturally
but-
funny. Every interview you see of Billy Crystal like on a
He's
show,
like the Jewish Bill Murray.
well,
Have fun storming the castle.
but positive. But he's so funny. He's just hilarious. He's hilarious.
He's one of my favorite guys.
Me too.
Oh, I could watch anything.
All the Oscars hosted
him.
by him are just gold. And
Oh, they're gold, Jerry.
And well,
I love Billy Crystal.
I thought it was also fun. Like that whole scene, the trajectory of that, it's like a 2-minute scene. That
And it
he's in the
encompasses
movie.
so much.
It's so fast, but everything is funny and everything
And he
is
steals the show.
It's not just like a straightforward arc of okay, he's going to get revived. Like no,
He's only mostly.
he actually he's not dead yet. Oh, and, okay, we can pay you this much, and it's like no, you can't, or like that's not enough at all.
Are you a rotten liar?
Yeah, and then it's like okay.
Coppading.
They have to convince him now, and so then it's like this little backstory that he hates Humperdinck, and then his wife comes in, and she
Who plays his wife?
I think it's like an SNL actor or something.
She was great.
I don't know. I don't know who that is.
She was good too. Perfect foil.
And then of course his limp body, he doesn't come back all at once, and like
Yeah.
just the whole. And then have fun storming the castle is like the last thing we hear from him. It's perfect. It's a perfect scene.
The temptation to come back to him at some point in the movie was probably very strong.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
no, we don't.
Can't
No,
do it.
no.
You don't need it. It's like
Let
it was
it sit.
it was like it was that
Just
one
like
ingredient.
Post-credit
Credit scene.
Yeah.
Well, it's like that little garlic you put in. Not too much. Just
Not too
like
much.
that garlic, just right there.
Little sprinkle. Little sprinkle.
MLT. Well, and the scene also comes right after a good cut to Fred Savage being like, "Wait, Wesley's dead? There's no
Yeah.
way he's dead." That's not how the story is
That's a
supposed to go.
trope
Blah, blah, blah.
subversion.
And then it's
Wait a
like,
minute.
oh, you knew what was going to happen.
I'm not supposed to lose. Let me see the script. Let me fix that. Carrie Yules.
Did you guys laugh at the
Yes.
deacon?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Dude, of all the things in this movie,
Marriage.
okay, like we all have running jokes with our parents. That
You do?
voice,
I don't.
that voice is one that my mother
parents are serious.
does all the time. Is the Pope guy voice, the
My
bishop
jokes ran
guy.
away.
Marriage.
It's pretty good. Do it again.
Who has the wings?
You have the wing.
That's funny.
Just little throwaways. Yeah, and each one is kind of unique too. It's not like a
It's never the same joke.
no. Each
the whole-
one has a unique personality.
The whole movie's peppered with that.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, maybe my Three Stooges opening was appropriate because this is kind of like the Three Stooges where they do the humor very simply, but they do it so well.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing complicated about it. It's
No.
just well done.
It's just
You didn't have to go to comedy school to understand these jokes.
It's baby.
Oh, okay. I just found my favorite joke. And it's
Oh.
well, it's kind of understated.
It's
but
one I wrote in my notes.
good one, Matt.
I was a script doctor when I was 3.
It actually, it's so.
Delivered three movies. He takes the Rion specs. Best picture.
Go on, Matt.
You finished?
Yeah.
Finished. It's such like kind of a throwaway scene right before they make the big fake pirate to storm the castle.
Oh yeah.
And
So great.
and it's right after probably the funniest scene where he's just like
When he's
twisting
rubber.
Wesley's head around and like
Don't
doing
pester
stuff.
him. He's been mostly dead all day.
Yeah. But it's when Andre the Giant he yells up at Inigo, I hope we win. It's just like, well, yeah.
And that's a weird thing for me because when I was younger, that didn't read as a joke for me. And then later,
Yeah.
when I got older, I was like, wait a minute.
I hope we win. Do you know what's he's on flames. Like he's in flames. Yeah.
How does that work?
I love Andre the Giant.
You can't not.
He was so awesome. But I mean, I remember used to watching him wrestle as a kid. You know, I loved it. But there's this because he's so big. He's just huge. And I guess he couldn't carry anybody.
He was weak by this point.
Yeah, he died
so
not
much
too-
pain. He was always like
so much pain.
He couldn't carry Robin
self-medicating.
Wright in this movie.
Yeah.
No, not terrible. But at the end of the movie, when they're all riding away on the horses, if you really look closely,
He's not that big anymore.
It's like he's the smallest guy. It's like you see the back of it. It's like it's really small Andre
It's
the Giant.
there's no horse that can hold Andre the Giant
but
around here.
but it's a really small one. Like run away. Like it's obviously.
Well, they said they had to lower him onto it because he couldn't climb. And
But at the end, it
horse,
wasn't
too.
him.
Yeah.
You could tell like this is size. Like there he is. It's like he's small.
And he was so gentle.
The other really funny scene we haven't. There's a whole bunch of like torture stuff in here too,
And they're really well done, too.
Yeah,
What's that guy?
yeah, that was what I was gonna bring up.
Where am I?
He starts with the like.
Despair. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about trying to escape.
It's so good.
But it sets up so much.
So fun.
They set up a lot of tropes like as the people
Not to
use later
50!
Disney movies and
Yeah.
stuff. Like
Well, it uses things that it plays to like classic fairy tale, classic like nostalgia of all these characters from all the genres, as Aaron said, but it does them in such unique ways that it feels fresh and
it's all
still
good
really
humor.
good.
It's
Yeah.
he obviously let the actors thrive to come up with
For
some
sure.
good stuff. You know,
Do you think a lot of those side characters ad-lib stuff?
I think so, but I also think they were probably pretty more experimental.
Maybe.
Well, if it's a low budget film, maybe not because you only have so much money to.
Yeah, you had
for
to
a
have that
film
script
reel.
nailed down.
Yeah,
Maybe.
But they you know.
I'm sure I mean, Billy Crystal's stuff probably.
Obviously.
But also, Rob Reiner's a comedian and actor himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he knows how to.
go.
That's probably
To do
why
it.
this movie's so good, is because he can act and be funny.
Yeah.
Can I tell you my Rob Reiner story?
Please, I love this story.
Yeah.
This is great. So I went to the. God, how many years ago? I don't remember. How
It was at
many.
least 5 years ago.
At least 5 or longer. But the Heartland Film Festival had a premiere in the summertime. Let me see if I can find the name of the movie was. But they had a premiere in the summertime of a Rob Reiner movie. So they had a special thing when you went to the Circle Theater, and they had a premiere. And let me see if I can find this real quick. And so Rob Reiner, all the actors, or some of the actors and the producers and stuff, were in the auditorium to watch. What did he do?
Whatever the movie was.
Whatever the movie was. Sorry, I saw something that surprised me. It was back in 2000. What was it? What
I
was
want
it?
to say 2012.
Was it 2012?
Maybe.
I think it might have been this movie called Flipped. I think that's what it was. And it was 2010. But actually, John Mahoney was one of the characters in it, and he was there too. And he passed away recently. We found out.
Rip in peace.
He's the dad on Frasier. But so here's the story. So we're all in the theater. You know, we have our seats, and Rob Reiner is probably like a good 10 feet, 15 feet away, in the middle of the theater, right in front of us. And he was answering questions and answers, and went back to his seat to watch the movie. And the way Heartland Film Festival set it up, they put the screen in the auditorium, which used to be the old Circle Theater used to be an old movie theater to begin with, but now the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra plays there, and so they had to retrofit everything. So there was kind of like an echo and stuff when you watched the movie. It wasn't, but it was just such a beautiful theater. Anyway, so as the movie starts, they have their typical plugs for the Heartland Film Festival in the fall and stuff, and you have this stuff, but not like a traditional movie. Everything's not really traditional. All of a sudden, there's this whoever put the film together, or digital together. There was this big, I say, 30 seconds of black, of nothingness. So after that, the initial previews, there's just 30 seconds of black, and you can just feel the uncomfortableness of the whole
silence was
the
deafening.
silent. It was really awkward. It's like you feel it. All of a sudden, in the middle of this black theater and this black screen, you hear Rob Reiner go, "It gets better," and That's my Rob Reiner. He's hilarious.
Very good.
He's funny.
Yeah.
He's a meathead.
Yeah.
So, Aaron, do you have a favorite quote?
Come back to me in like a minute. Let me mull it over.
I've
Ben?
got it.
Yours was
yours was at the start.
You are the Brute Squad.
yeah.
You are the Brute Squad. I got a question for you. Who is this movie for?
Everyone.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the target audience.
Yeah,
It's
I think so.
supposed
Yeah,
to
I
hit
think so.
everybody.
But I think its intent was for children.
Yeah.
But I think its execution made it for everyone.
Yeah.
A happy accident.
Okay.
Who do you think? What do you think?
Well, I thought it was interesting because William Goldman wrote the book originally for his
daughter.
daughters, and it was like he asked them each what
Princess
story,
and
and one
Bride.
said a story about a princess, and the other said a story about a bride, and so he made The Princess Bride. To me, I thought adding in the Fred Savage angle, and especially his like skepticism of like
Yeah.
what is a very familiar fairy tale trope of prince
Might be
and
saying
princess.
what we're thinking.
It's like, oh geez, I don't like it's a love story, blah blah blah. But then through the course of the movie, he comes to like he's okay with the kissing part, and he's okay with the love
I don't
story
mind
aspect.
it so much.
And it's like there's a universality to it that's not just for girls or
I think
or
your mic's
boys.
drooping.
yeah.
It's Valentine's Day.
Oh,
fix
I'll keep
Someone
talking.
keep talking.
Keep talking, I'll fix it.
I got it.
No, you don't.
all right, all right.
Keep talking.
Ben, someone needs to be on mic, Ben.
You got it. We got it. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Matt ruined everything. All right, it's back. It's good.
Okay, I'm gonna say.
Let's
With this?
Anyway, I thought it was interesting
Look,
that
Matt's cut.
You're gonna have to droop a little bit, Ben.
Thanks, Matt.
I thought it was interesting that they went that route.
don't
That
want
it seemed to me that it was almost targeted to tell like an exciting story that.
Look at that. Look at the mic on here. Hi, guys. I'm Matt. Go on.
I'm done.
No, it's a targeted story. Targeted story. Targeted story.
We already covered.
No,
it.
no,
I'm still
no.
trying to think of my favorite line.
I have another question. Do you guys think that a movie like this could exist today?
Yeah, sure.
No.
Do you think it does exist or could come?
I don't think
something
so
like it?
because of the way the Hollywood system is. I
What
think
about independent pictures?
maybe independent pictures, but I think it's too simple for people. I think people want.
I've never met
more-
anyone who said they disliked it, though.
No, neither.
Right,
but I'm talking about what people's expectations are today. In fact, it didn't do well in theaters the first time. This was a very cult movie. So I think it's like if they remade The Labyrinth today,
Yeah, that
with
wouldn't
the
do
same
well.
special effects and stuff, it wouldn't do good either. It's just what the. I just think this audience is impatient. They want
But this
so much
movie's like
CGI and explosions and stuff that this wouldn't. I don't know. Unless they made it into an animated movie. That's the thing. That's what.
That would ruin
but
it for
that's
me.
not the same type of movie.
No,
I don't
but-
think that's the same.
This is a Disney animated live action.
That's a
movie,
good way to put it.
But better for adults, more for adults.
Well, I wouldn't even say it's more for adults. I don't know where the adult stuff comes in. It's kind of like
the eels
Pixar
were very,
humor.
suggestive.
Were they?
No, just
Yeah.
just be a punk.
I think it's more like Pixar, Universal type of popular, like why people like
Post
it.
Disney.
Yeah. But I agree with you that I think the closest that has come to this type of movie might be like Enchanted,
Haven't seen it.
Yeah.
which sort of like pull fairy tale characters into modern day,
yeah.
which is totally different than just tell a fairy tale and that's it. Like
Yeah.
that's basically what this is.
Cut.
Like we don't have movies where it's just a totally. I know it's based off of a book that was written well before this movie came out, but we don't see movies.
They
I can't remember a movie recently where it's just here is a unique story using this kind of trope, and that's it.
Yeah.
and it's very simple.
Okay, you're gonna get me into a rant about than I like what you're talking about with Enchanted and stuff. Even Masters of the Universe does this to a degree. The old '80s
Good
film.
movie.
But it is. But like you said, I love being taken away. The only gap between the real world and the fantasy in Princess Bride is them reading the book. That's it. That's the only touch. But I hate movies that take it's that fish out of water, like a fairy tale or a science fiction thing, into our realm, because I don't want to see our realm. I want to see all this
Right.
realm, like the Smurfs, the
Yeah, they had such an opportunity with the Smurfs, and they
well,
threw it away.
they made a new one which just takes place in CGI, and
that's
that,
great.
I think
which
that's
is better.
a great observation, though, that today people want it to be today or future, even like
Is the Princess Bride not depicted as today? I mean, they don't give a year.
No, but I guess there's no technology. They're riding horse. Like,
Well,
it
he is
feels
playing
like
Atari,
medieval
I guess.
Times.
I don't think people want to do it today. I just think people want.
Something to relate to.
Well, it's like there's some. It's like let's throw a CGI camera like dragon in there. I mean, like I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's like
Those butts in
You're
those
right.
seats.
The monsters in this are so like they're very quick and they're also very low budget.
Yeah.
They could have. It's not like they had to do it that way.
no. There's something therapeutic about watching this movie.
Oh
Yeah.
my God,
It's
yes.
very relaxing and
Yeah.
just fun. It kind of has a softer Goonies feel to it with the sets and stuff.
Yeah,
and
you're right. You're right.
But there's something, and that was this made in the '80s or when was this?
1987.
87. There's something about the '80s fantasies and stuff taking you away that just will never duplicate.
Is it the sets?
I
The
think it's the
actual
sets. I think it's the sets. But I also think it's the way you tell stories with the limitations of technology too.
Oh yeah, we could harp on that for an entire show.
And like what about this movie was like they didn't overcomplicate it with shots. There wasn't harsh lighting. It wasn't.
It's kind of like Groundhog Day.
It is exactly. You know what I mean? It's like this is just nice.
Well, so I'm trying to see if
Shot
I
in
can
real places.
I can find like really recent movies like Excalibur maybe,
I
but they're
don't know.
always I think this also gets at a larger difference between movies and TV. Like a lot of these kind of character driven, like more slow burns, because that's kind of what this is.
Yeah.
It's like really simple. Like that's on TV. There's a TV show for that. And anything that's being made into a big, I know this wasn't a big budget movie, but made into a wide release movie is spectacle now.
Oh, yeah.
It feels very much like spectacle, unless it's somehow.
Well, the key is making it a spectacle and making it character driven, which I think Blade Runner was that way this year.
Yeah.
I think that was why it was so good,
But
and it
even
was a
then-
slow burn too.
But
like
even
you-
then, a lot like the word that keeps coming up for me with Princess Bride is the charm of it.
Yes.
like everything, like that is
charming.
that is the way to describe it. And I can't think of the last movie we did in the past year, or even beyond like an indie release maybe that has that quality to it. Like even Blade Runner is so good and has a lot to
But
it.
it's
but
not
it's
for
not a
everybody.
charming movie.
no, it's still like this has such a universality to it.
That's why we say it's for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Well, Dragonheart was charming.
Oh yeah. Dragonheart.
What about Angels in the
Remake
Outfield?
Dragon.
Angels
Yeah.
in the Outfield.
No.
Just something made
The
in
Rocketeer.
late 80s,
Rocketeer
early
was charming.
90s. Yeah.
Rocketeer was charming.
Just
But I
Dragon
see what you're saying.
Slayer.
There's something like it's just nice, and it's a great thing to watch with families, and it's like there's nothing. It's just they're like it's good.
Yep.
I guess the only charming stuff now is just cartoons. I guess Disney cartoons.
Not even
and Pixar.
cartoons anymore.
Yeah, they're more of a spectacle now.
My
too.
dad actually called me on the phone to tell me
during the podcast.
like a couple of weeks ago.
Sorry, Chief.
My dad and I used to watch cartoons together growing up, and of course, when he was growing up, he watched cartoons now and again. I don't think it's just like people getting old. He's seen all the cartoons from then and now, and Like, by all rights, if that was the thing, like, it's just everything is better when you're younger, he shouldn't have liked the cartoons that I grew up with, but he did. And he seems to like them better than he did the older ones, like Rocko's Modern Life and all that. He tells me that he has, like, our DVR thing set up to record Rocko's Modern Life whenever it comes on, and Ren and Stimpy. And he tells me that he's got, like, a nice collection going now that he likes to watch.
That's hilarious.
And he himself tells me, yeah, I've watched cartoons from this day and age, and they're just no good anymore. Whatever happened?
Well, they're becoming too stylized. There's no character. Like, this is like...
The 90s cartoons were pretty stylized.
Yeah, but they were great. They weren't over the top.
Yeah,
you know
they
what
were.
They weren't...
they weren't over the top in a certain way. Like, what way do you think?
Well, like you look at the Ninja Turtles, back in the 80s and 90s to what they look like now. It's like there's something now. They're too clean. The characters, like, you can't relate to the characters. You can't relate to them.
That's one description I would have of modern cartoons: is they're too clean.
Yeah.
Well, so I actually just looked up movies based on fairy tales recently.
Oh, yeah?
Like, that have come out, and look at this trend and think about stylistically, some of the themes and, like, how they were portrayed. All the Alice in Wonderlands,
garbage.
Think about those.
I put the second one on, and I kid you not, I was 10 minutes in, and I said, I can't turn it off. It was that bad.
So boring.
There was that Red.
And it was free.
There was that Red Riding Hood.
Haven't seen it.
The Snow White and the Huntsman movies. Think about how they...
It's like action movies now.
Yeah. Oz the Great and Powerful is listed on here, but
that was
kind
more
of lumped that into the same kind of stuff.
Yeah, me too. That was a good one-time watch.
Jack the Giant Slayer, Maleficent, Into the Woods, even Into the Woods, which has, like, a lot of pros to it. It's still, like, tonally, if you watch that movie versus, like, something like this, it's just incomparable.
Well, you keep going.
Beauty and the new Beauty and
It's too. Oh God, it's terrible. It's
anyway.
too overproduced. Like, there's not a lot of mystery or subtlety.
Yeah,
it's like even so. Here, I think the equivalent. This is going to be strange. And if you think about it, they have great special effects in it, but a lot of it is not a lot of special effects. The equivalent to Princess Bride in adult form is Game of Thrones. You know what I mean? It's the characters. It's like a rated R version of Princess Bride, but, like, the reason why I think that's popular is because there's, like, a majority of all the episodes just these characters talking to each other.
And but even then, I think what I'm seeing a lot of is movies now and even TV want to take things to extreme. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no, like, that's something that
they want to be edgy.
Yeah, that you don't see so often with, like, a Michael Schur who did The Office and Parks and Recreation. Like, there's a sense of restraint and
plainness, maybe.
Yeah, or, like, familiarity, or like, we're not going to just go overboard with everything. Like, not everything is ratcheting up to some crazy event, or we're not going to overdo it with effects. We're not going to overdo it with this action set.
When it comes to that stuff, it gets you run into the danger of escalation.
Yeah,
yeah.
It just again,
it's trying too hard.
Yeah,
and that's where that's why I said this movie's therapeutic to watch. It's like. It's like Mon.
Yeah.
There's something about
fresh cut
glaze. Well, like, I go watch Frasier. I watch Frasier all the time in the background. And that's therapeutic too. It's not it's just like it's like this is relaxing, it's hilarious, it's not trying too hard, it's smart, it's perfect.
10 out of 10.
Aaron,
favorite line?
You have your favorite line to
I couldn't think of my favorite, but I thought of a good one.
Okay.
When Vincini is trying to tell Fezzik to kill the man in black, and he's like, take care of him, your way. And then Fezzik's like, oh, good, thank you, Vincini. Which way's my way? And he tells him to throw the rock at his head, and then Fezzik's like, my way's not very sportsmanlike.
That's pretty good.
I love this movie. I can't... there's so many good lines, it's hard to think of just one.
Should we take a vote?
Take a vote on what?
Take a vote.
Do we take a vote?
For what kind of vote?
The HOF.
The Hall of Fame
Hall of
vote? Do you
Fame?
want to do a Hall of Fame?
Yes,
real
let's
quick?
do Hall of Fame.
Let's see. Aaron,
Yes.
Matthew.
Don't feel pressured by my vote.
He does have
Do
the
you have a
key.
quick one?
He does have the key out of here. And no TP.
You're all in here with me.
I'm on the fence.
I'm really close to. I'm gonna say.
Want to say it at the same time?
Yeah. Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Maybe.
Yes. Maybe you jerk.
It's a yes.
I'll go yes.
I'm gonna say yes for the quotability of it and
the
The
timelessness. of it.
rewatchability.
rewatchability points are really high.
I'm gonna say yes, but you're a little pitchy. Work on it when you go to Hollywood.
Yeah.
You were
but
flat
you're
in a
kid.
couple of places.
You're in, kid.
You're in, kid.
As you wish.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to
As-
casting couch you a couple of times, and you're in.
Perfect ending. We're gonna do Black Panther next week.
Yes.
Woot!
Then 2 weeks from then, I think, is our Oscars. We've got a lot.
Right,
we're gonna
right.
do a lot for the Oscars. So
I'm
look
set up
forward to
for
that.
whatever we're gonna do for that.
Yes. So that'll be fun. Anything else you guys want to plug before we go?
No.
No, I just want to plug this vacuum in and clean your room.
My room is pretty clean right now.
All right, we're done.
Some dust
We're-
bunnies.
turn it off.
Turn it off?
Turn this off.
I don't want to turn it off. We're having a good time. Okay, we'll turn it off. Okay, let me hit stop.
And
Bye.
Well.